Welcome to On the Brink with Andi Simon. I'm Andi, and as you know, my job is to get you off the brink. I love to do our podcast to share with you people who have interesting stories that can help you see, feel, and think in new ways. You need to be a little bit of an anthropologist yourself if you're going to step out and see what's happening all around you and understand that there are new opportunities for you to capitalize on and really take the reins and grow yourself and your business in new ways. The best way to do that is to listen to stories of people who have done the same thing. I have with me today a gentleman I met when I was working in Mexico, a number of years ago before the pandemic. His name is Oscar Barrera, and he is a wonderful corporate anthropologist, another one like us. And I love the fact that he's applying it in similar ways to help businesses see, feel, and think about themselves and their customers through a fresh lens in new ways so he can help them grow. And I've asked him to come today because he has a podcast and he's been sharing experiences he had. And I bet he has some really cool experiences to share with you so you can understand why a little anthropology can help your business grow. Oscar, thank you for joining me today.
Well, thank you for the invitation, Andy. I am delighted to be once again in your podcast. Thank you very
Well,
much.
let me tell the audience a little bit about you, and then you can talk about your own journey.
Mhm.
Oscar is a corporate anthropologist, business consultant, and an innovation strategist. He holds a PhD in social and cultural anthropology from the University of Washington in Seattle. He's the founder, and he's going to help me say this, Anthropologia Corporativa, a consulting firm that helps organizations deeply understand their clients, employees, and markets. And he has a good purpose to design human-centered strategies for growth and innovation. He's also the host of the podcast Nuevas Posibilidades, New Possibilities. You know, yo hablo español un poquito, but I don't remember it very well.
It's okay.
And,
It's okay.
and his podcast, he interviews the leaders and experts in innovation, anthropology, and particularly the future of work. He has a simple and powerful mission. His purpose is to help organizations reconnect with the human side of business to design the future of work with purpose. And I love his purpose.
Mhm.
Oscar, thanks again for joining me. Now tell the audience about your journey. How did you end up as an anthropologist? How did you end up in Washington? Give us a little bit about who is Oscar.
Well, I became an anthropologist because I met anthropologists when after I finished my college, and I was in love with the way they think, the way they perceive the world. And I said, I want to think the same way. I mean, I was just amazed the way they deconstruct reality. They see the elements and they made the connections and the interconnections that they see between one thing and the other. I was just fascinated. I said, like, oh, I want to learn this. I want to learn this.
Wise man, please continue.
So I was invited by professors from the University of Washington uh, to get my PhD. And I said, oh, how can I say no when you have an invitation, right? So I got a scholarship and I went to Seattle for 8 years, including my 2 years of fieldwork in the highlands of Guatemala, where I conducted my research. And after finishing my PhD, I was unemployed. I couldn't get a teaching position in the US, in Canada, or anywhere else in the world. I went to Europe. I couldn't find a job as a applied anthropologist. So I decided that I would return to Mexico and I will start my own consulting business.
Yes.
And that has been quite a journey of self-discovery, almost like on a spiritual journey,
I
because
understand completely. Please.
because I had to face all my demons, my fears, my insecurities, and I had to learn about business. I got my own MBA by reading books and listening to podcasts, and that's how I met you. And
Uh-huh.
that's actually how I met you.
Well, I mean, this is not an uncommon journey for academics who find themselves without an academy that wants them.
Mhm.
And yet I was a tenured professor and I left because the world outside was much more interesting. So in some ways, you could say, I wish I had my job, but you don't. It was boring. And this is much more exciting. So
Yeah, definitely.
how have you been building your business? How do you find clients who want an anthropological perspective? Any wisdom to share?
Well, I listened to several podcasts, and one of the advices that I followed is that you need a tribe. So I joined the Chamber of Commerce. I know the business organizations to know other entrepreneurs. So thanks to the interaction and also an anthropologist, by learning what people do and also to avoid what people do, I learned ways to do business. I before I had long hair, I had to change my look to look more professional, more business-like. I began to develop my own personal branding, and I pretty much applied all everything that I learned by on my own business, and starting just to create my own brand, my
Hmm.
personal brand and my consulting brand.
Well, you know, a brand answers the question, why you?
Mhm.
So, as you're speaking to our audience or our viewers, why you? What do you bring to a problem or a business that is fresh and refreshing and that can help them see things through a fresh lens? You know, sell yourself. What's your brand?
Well, basically, what I say is that I help companies to reconnect
Uh,
with in in depth with their clients and with their own collaborators, with their own employees. And I help, and to do that, I do research. I use anthropological theories and methods in order to understand and better connect with those clients, with internal client and external client.
and when you're doing that, are you doing participant observation? Are you doing survey research? I mean, what are the tools of anthropology that you find most effective?
Well, I have a long range of methods, but the most powerful is ethnography, which is to be there, to do observation, to be there and observe people in their own context, in their own elements, to see how they behave, the way they speak, the way they move their bodies, the way they interact with each other and with their surroundings. But in nowadays, with the digital media, now we have changed our methods. Actually, the case that I'm going to talk to you about, I had planned that my proposal originally was to do an ethnography inside, to do observations, to visit the clients, but there was a problem with the company, and it was impossible. They couldn't afford to to fly me to the city and do the research in situ. So I had to do it online. So
Huh?
I conducted interviews online using Google Meets, and I recorded all the interviews. And I was really amazed myself of the depth. And also it has some advantages because, you have only 1 hour or 90 minutes to conduct the interview. So people open up and uh, they become very they relax because you see that you are genuinely interested in their lives and what's going on. They share a lot. I think probably more than in real person interaction. Mhm.
It's interesting. It's become a safe haven for people to answer your question, talk about themselves, and not feel uncomfortable or vulnerable. How interesting.
Yeah,
Uh,
and also because they knew that it was the only the only time that they will see me in their lives. I, and then it will be gone. I want to because all the arrangements to for the meeting was done through the company. So I
Mhm.
didn't have their personal contact information. I only provided the link. They connected at the same time. We connected at the same time. We conducted the interview, and then we disappeared from each
Now,
other's lives.
but like this is really interesting because you know I often share about the work I did for a senior living community in Portland, Oregon, 3 years ago,
Mhm.
and they wanted to better understand what quality meant for the people who lived there because their
Mhm.
scores were terrible. And I spent 2 weeks living in the community. I took on an independent living place and popped myself down and did ethnography.
Mhm.
And the interviews were really helpful, but in some ways, it was labor intensive. It was very observational. Many things I saw that I never would have picked up without
Mhm.
being
Mhm.
there. But it was an interesting. It's why you and I enjoy being who we are, because being and listening open us up to things people can't tell you, and they can tell you in their story without knowing what they're telling you in their story. Am I right?
Yeah, and also as an anthropologist, you need to be very experimental. You don't need to be very narrow, like I'm just going to do this very rigid methodology that I learned in my PhD. Well, you need to be flexible and to be and to recreate and reinvent your own methodologies because otherwise
Yep.
you
And
couldn't
I,
do anything.
well, it's true. And I was finding myself asking them to tell me good stories about what is quality. And in the stories was lots of information. Now, you and I
Mhm.
were sharing a story about one of your customers, your clients, and I
Mhm.
thought it was a very interesting one to illustrate the way in which you went about helping them grow their business. And they wanted
Mhm.
to have a foolproof toolkit for growth. They didn't want an
Mhm.
academic project.
Mhm.
Tell us about what you can share. And along the way, let the listener understand how we approach the problems like these because they aren't simply they want to grow. Let's find out where the market is and how they grow the
Mhm. Mhm.
market. Your thoughts.
Well, like any entrepreneur, my client, he wanted to grow his business. He wanted to make more money and he wanted to uh, have a better impact. So the business is about a very odd baking company. They produce no typical Mexican bread. They didn't produce that because everybody does it. But he produced sourdough bread, which is not part of our Mexican culture. I wasn't raised eating sourdough.
Well,
I
but
began eating sourdough after I in my 20s.
pause for a moment. That is real important. So this entrepreneur had a bakery where he was making sourdough bread and wanted to grow in a culture where bread wasn't sourdough. What is bread in Mexico? Remind me.
It's pan dulce with sweet bread, and also
Sweet.
we have it's more the Spanish kind of bread. We have this Spanish influence. So this we have a whole tradition of Mexican bread that varies from region, from the north, the center, or the south, and it's very sweet. I mean, to the extent that I cannot have breakfast without my bread. I
uh,
mean, because it's so part of our culture. It's so
and you
part of
were
our
going to give
culture.
up your breakfast or your bread for sourdough, but
Yeah.
this
Uh-huh.
gentleman wanted to open up a new market. I love it.
But the brand that this company was building was about a bread that is free of chemicals,
Ah.
free gluten free, and no preservatives. So it's a very healthy bread. No any kind of bread. If you want to eat sweet bread and gain weight, I mean, go and eat Mexican bread. But if you want to take care of your health, consume sourdough bread. Consume our brand. Mhm.
So what did you do? It's so interesting because he's in a market that doesn't know much about him. Help me
Mhm.
help him.
And the thing is that the company was puzzled because they had around 15 distributors uh, that emerged organically. What I meant by this is that there were women who who knew about the brand, who knew about the company, and they knocked their doors and they said, I know your bread, I love it, I want to resell it in my hometown.
Oh,
Mhm.
cool.
So, but for the owner, this was, I mean, it was great, but there were 15 people who were doing the same, who called them like, I love your bread, I want to sell it in my hometown. Mhm. So he wanted to know, like, who are these people? Why do they come to us and ask us to sell to resell our own bread? And because they were in their niche. these companies sold their bread in supermarkets in their town, in the city. But these women, mostly women, like 95%
Yep.
of the distributors were women. It's like I want to know who are these women, the owner told me. And I want to know how to grow this business. I mean, if they come to me without me moving anything to have a distributor, how can I intentionally grow and expand the
Hmm.
distributor brand so that I can grow my business? So, uh, with that in mind, and also he was very emphatic. He said, "I want to grow my business. I don't want to just data. I want to grow my. I want the formula." Literally, he said, "I want to know the formula on how to grow my business.
Interesting.
Please give it to me."
I'm
And
anxious to hear what you found.
yeah, and this remind me. I mean, it was for me. It was not that crazy to say that I could do that because I remember to have watched an interview by Jeff Bezos, and he was interviewed and he was asked how he figured out a way to grow Amazon, and he said that it took him 10 years by studying his customers that he figured out the key elements to grow the business.
Interesting.
One was the diversity of products, one was the very quick deliveries, and another one was excellent customer service.
Uh-huh.
I mean, these are three out of five. So I said, well, I could probably figure it out that. I can figure it out myself. I mean, without spending 10 years, I could, as an anthropologist, I could probably figure it out what's
Yep.
going on with these distributors. So for the idea was to conduct ethnography for me to travel to the site and interview the distributors and the clients, the customers, to see why they love bread and who are these women, why did
Yep.
they engage in this business of selling bread. But for some reasons that I'm not going to go in detail, it was impossible. So I had to be creative. I said, well, let's do some online interviews because this is what is going on right now. I
Yep.
mean, let's do some interviews. So the company, the baking company, they do all the arrangements, all the logistics, and they arrange 10 interviews with the distributors and and five more interviews with clients who consume bread.
Yep.
So I conducted these 10 interviews, and it was very interesting to find who are these women, mostly women. And these are women who have their own salary job. They are school teachers, or they have their own store. They have their own organic store. They sell shampoos, they sell bread, they sell seeds, and all kind of organic, healthy items. And one of them was bread. And these are women who have their own families, their own children, but they wanted to have an extra income. Mhm. And I thought of you because you work with women. So, but one thing was very interesting when I conducted the interviews. I found some key elements that a thread that connected all these women, and it was their values, and it was some health issue.
Mm.
These women uh, consume bread not only because the taste was good, but it was good for their health. Some of them had some issues with their cholesterol, some with their sugar blood levels, some others with their children and the digestion problems. So sourdough was the solution.
How interesting.
Mhm. Yeah. And another one was the she was overweight and she goes to the gym every day and she posts in her WhatsApp groups and in her social media that she eats bread every day and she's thin and and she says, well, if you want to be like me, consume also sourdough and I can sell it to you. Mhm.
Smart
So
women.
yeah, yeah. So these are women who have these values about procuring their health, and they had a connection with them, somebody close to their family or themselves with a health issue, and sourdough was an alternative to continue eating bread because I told you uh, bread is part of our Mexican culture.
Yep.
So sourdough was resignified with some attributes that you can still eat bread, even though it's sourdough. It's not necessarily Mexican, but it's sourdough, and you can still be part of the tribe. You can
Oh.
still be Mexican, and you cannot skip your breakfast without bread.
Isn't that interesting?
Mhm,
So
mhm.
this became, for a segment, a solution to a health problem that kept them in the culture, in the value system, but gave
Mhm.
them an option that was tasty and good. Is it the same price as your sweetbread or different
No, no,
price?
no. It's way more expensive.
Ah,
Even probably 10 times more
wow.
than the because sweetbread is not that it's very affordable. It's very very inexpensive, but the sourdough bread, and what is very interesting is that the sourdough that they consume was the European style.
Ah,
Mhm, mhm. You know, the one that has lots of seeds and the natural sourdough bread. So it had to be tropicalized for Mexico. So they added some jelly and butter. So or it was the slice of sourdough to make sandwiches. Mhm,
ah, interesting.
mhm, mhm. So and another aspect talking about symbolism and symbolic meaning, or talking about hermeneutics, is that these women not only wanted to better themselves and better their health, they wanted to contribute to the health of their communities, whether it's their families, their co-workers, or other people. That's why they wanted to sell bread. That's why they contacted this company, and I said, I want to be your distributor, and I want to sell your bread because it's very healthy and very good, and is the price is fair. I wanted to sell it in my hometown and really and also benefit my community. Uh,
Interesting.
and these are so I realized that these women engage in selling bread not because they wanted to become rich or because they had this personal commitment to better the lives of their community, their families, their co-workers, their children. Uh, so
Did,
these are entrepreneurs who have the sensibility that I'm not doing this for my own.
yeah.
I'm doing this for my community. I really want to make to to do something for my community.
So this
Mhm.
is so interesting because they could have eaten the bread, but they didn't care enough about eating the bread. They really wanted everyone to eat the bread. And that
Mhm,
is a very big purpose-driven distribution channel that's different than I want to make money on this. I
mhm,
want to
mhm.
do it for health and well-being among others who I live with. What a big idea, isn't it? Now, did the
Yeah.
owner understand this? How did you help him understand this?
Well, I want to add a little piece because it reinforces what I just described. Because when I interviewed the sales manager of the company, she said, "Well, I have gone to these the same towns where these women come from, their distributors. I have gone to the market. I have gone to different stores to sell our product, sourdough, with no success." And she
Oh,
said, "I don't understand why."
oh, I don't
And
either.
and my research provided give it the answer because if people who are going to engage in the selling of sourdough, they need to share the values. Like
Yeah,
I'm going to contribute to the community. I'm not
yeah.
doing this just to make money. I'm going to contribute to the health of the children, of the elderly people. I want to contribute to the health of people. So that
Wow.
was the requirement. That's why the sales manager wasn't successful because she wasn't going to the right target.
And she
Mhm.
wasn't telling the right story.
She wasn't telling the right story. Exactly.
She wasn't there for a bigger good. She was there for a profit to grow the
Yeah.
business.
Mhm, 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 mhm.
And they basically said, no, thank you.
Exactly. She
How?
was so disappointed. They said, like, I don't understand why nobody wants to to resell our bread. Mhm,
Now, so I'll come back to the owner. Did he
mhm.
buy it? Did he embrace it? Did he find more distributors? How did you help him get that
Well,
formula?
yeah. So let's go in detail about what are the key factors in how these distributor, how this business model of the distributors will grow. So through my research, uh, conversing with these distributors, I identified five elements that were key for the business to grow. One is the one that we just discussed, the philosophy and values. People who are uh, who have the commitment to better the lives of the people and who are concerned about selling products that are natural, uh, with no preservatives, with no chemicals. So these are the profile of the people. Like the philosophy and values are key.
Yeah.
And another aspect is the managing of time, going against the clock, because in this part of Mexico, in this region, there are temperatures around 86 degrees Fahrenheit, which is high. And at that temperature, the bread decomposes very quickly.
Yes. With no
Mhm.
preservatives, it just turns blue.
Yeah, exactly. So uh, it, the uh, the company, it took him 24 hours to put all the all the shipping together, put it in with the shipping company, and in 24 hours it will arrive to the destination with the distributor. So, but then comes the logistic problems, because uh, the uh, the branches of the shipping companies was not very close to the hometown of the distributors. They have to
Uh-huh.
drive 20 minutes to pick up the boxes. Some other times they have to hire taxis or motorcycle taxis, and became a little bit complicated because for you, in order to pick up the packet, you need your ID.
Yep.
So if you are a taxi driver or a motorcycle driver, you they are not going to give it to you because it is your name. So it became a little complicated. Uh-huh. So then the company had to put the name of the shipping to the name of the taxi driver or the motorcycle driver. But then their lives complicated and they couldn't pick it up the same day, so they had to wait another the next day. So it was 48 hours,
The
and
bread's
the
going
bread
bad.
began to decompose.
Yes.
So it was very complicated for these women. They had to challenge. They had several challenges about the logistics because they went against the clock. And once they received the bread, they have to rush and reach the bread to
Yes.
their customers. Bef- uh, Sometimes they have to freeze it,
Yep.
uh-huh, or put it in their fridge before it's delivered to the customer, because it was very complicated. And also they had this, as I told you, their values was very strong. They wanted to deliver products of quality. So another aspect, and the third aspect is the packet. The boxes that the company used, the baking company used, were not strong enough. The cardboard was very thin,
Oh,
and some of the boxes were just smashed, and the
the bread
the
was
bread arrived really damaged.
smashed bread, breadcrumbs.
Yeah, breadcrumbs. So uh, it, the company had to change the packet.
Yep.
Mhm, mhm. And because there was not the baking company, they used whatever boxes they found
Yeah.
to ship the bread, but they needed to standardize the kind of boxes, right?
It's so interesting because
Uh-huh.
the logistics and the scalability are as
Mhm.
essential as baking good bread.
Yeah, exactly. And what was so funny is that uh, I didn't talk to the operations manager of the company. I deducted all of these, or I extracted all of these through the narratives, so the stories of of these women.
Yes.
Mhm. So
Yes.
I love this anthropology because it helped me to listen to the stories and to see what is behind the
And
stories.
to get
And
those values, they couldn't have told you, could they?
yeah, exactly. Uh-huh.
But they did tell you, but not in a straight line. It wasn't simply,
Mhm.
well, this is what I believe in, this is what I'm doing, and this is why I'm doing it, right?
Mhm. Another key element was the effective communication in the social process, in the selling process. The thing is that these women sold their bread through their WhatsApp groups, through their Facebook pages, and they didn't have. I mean, these are women who have children, who have their husbands, who have their jobs in the morning or in the afternoon, and plus they have their
Yes.
baking business. So they didn't have time to create content for their social media, and they didn't have the right equipment. Their cell phones was not, the camera was not a good quality. So they did the best they could to take a snapshot, photographs of their bread. Whenever they had breakfast, and they use a slice of sourdough with some avocado and some lettuce, they took pictures and said, "Oh, I'm having this breakfast." So that generated some kind of motion, and said people, "Oh, I want a lot of bread." So it was very complicated for them to create content in social media. So that was another key element, another uh, key factor for the company to grow. If the company needed to provide content for these women, for these distributors to just resend infographies, uh, just not only nice pictures of the bread, but also information that will educate future customers.
Yep.
Mhm, mhm.
Now, when you were doing this, did the women um, give you other ideas about how to grow the business? Others who could use them? Were they bringing in other distributors? These women sound like they were very savvy women and very powerful women, but not necessarily money motivated women.
Yeah, the, the retentions were very good. Some of them, they give me some ideas on uh, how to tackle the issue of the timing to go against the clock. One
Yes.
of them, for instance, told me, "Well, they could. S- Uh, I I can make a big order. I can put a big order. So I have a huge cooler here. I get all the bread and put everything in the cooler so that it will be in great condition. So whenever a customer wants it, I can just unfreeze it, and my customer will get fresh bread. I mean, they will give me, of
And,
course, maybe I put this in my report, but I don't think that the owner of the company will be willing to do that. I don't think so.
well,
But
oh,
the women have some ideas about
yep.
how to proceed, and they give me many ideas, which I put it in the report.
When
Mhm.
you're done, the gentleman wanted a foolproof toolkit for how to grow his business, but none of this is foolproof and easy to think about. Was he open to your ideas? How did you have a conversation or conversations with him and his team to see that the opportunities weren't a straight line from we make it and put it into distribution? I mean, this is really homegrown at its best.
Mhm. Yeah, these five elements, and there is one five element. Before I answer your questions, I want to address the fifth element that
Okay.
is missing, which is the customer experience. And the narratives of the stories of these women or these distributors told me that when they go to work, for instance, they have their own sandwich and
Mm-hmm.
they share it with their
Yes.
coworkers, and they say, "Wow, this is really good." I said, "Well, I sell that bread." So or whenever they go to the gym, or whenever they have a sandwich or something for their own, and they give taste to other people. So that was the personal experience was key. So uh, one way to grow the business is to give uh, sensorial experiences to people to try the bread,
Yes.
because once they try it,
They
they
love
say,
it.
"Yes, I want it." Because if you describe to them all the benefits of the bread for their health, it's gonna, "Okay, that's good." but
Yes.
they're not going to buy it. But
But the
once they
words
try
don't
it,
work. Now they have to try it. It's
yeah,
experiential. Wow.
if they have the experience, they say, "Oh, yeah, this is very good. Plus, it's
Yes.
healthy. Okay, I want to buy it."
Yes. Interesting. So now, but I am coming back to your baker because
Yeah.
you had wonderful research and he didn't want an academic paper. Could he visualize and see and implement a plan of action to build his business? Is it growing?
Mhm. Well, it is too soon to say to tell because I just recently delivered the report.
Gotcha.
So uh, he he has now the tools. He knows exactly what to do to focus. If he wants to recruit new distributors, he knows the profile, what
Yep.
kind of people he needs to grow. If he wants to improve the whole logistics, he knows that he needs a better packet.
Yep.
Mhm. I mean, he has for every aspect. I give him a solution
Yes.
that if he has the talent, if he has the energy, and if he's convinced, he works on those elements, he will certainly grow the business.
Yes.
Mhm.
But it's not a simple business model that an MBA might have. It wasn't about being more productive or more efficient or having a better
Mhm.
sales team. It's having a whole different mindset about who's going to buy it, eat it, love it. And it's not simply a replacement for the Mexican bread. It's a,
Mhm.
a whole different experience. Hmm.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, definitely. And I forgot to mention something that for the audience is going to be very interesting. That for some women, they resignify the sourdough bread. Mhm. And this is something that for the owner of the company was key because he was selling a bread that is completely new for
Yes.
our culture.
Yep.
So what I discovered is that these distributors and their families, they resignify the bread, would put it with some attributes according to Mexican values,
Uh-huh.
so that because some of their family members for their health issues, it was forbidden to consume Mexican bread.
Yes.
But with sourdough, they were able to eat Mexican bread and be back to the crowd, to be
Yes.
part of the tribe, of the Mexican tribe, that we're not losing anything. I'm not missing anything.
I'm
I'm
just doing it
still,
differently. Wow.
yeah. This for me it was very key because if the company could be very successful if he sells no sourdough bread, but if he sells the same Mexican bread that is healthier. Hmm.
Well, this is wonderful. I'm looking at our time, and as much as I'd love to keep talking, I would
Hmm.
love you to just, reflect on the wisdom of doing ethnographic research, anthropology, to help a business like this in bread grow. The
Hmm.
gap between what he knows and what he doesn't know is really the filler that you provided through a really innovative way of capturing the stories of these women remotely. Any of your wisdom you want to share with others about don't assume that what you're doing is what's going to work? Any ideas to share? And then we'll wrap up.
Yeah, I think the success of any business is in the details that
Yes.
are there, but people don't see it. And that's the magic. I would say that's the magic of anthropology,
Yeah.
that we help companies uh, to see what they cannot see and to
Yes.
hear what they cannot hear. Mhm.
And that is the truth. Go ahead.
That's the work that we do of anthropology. That's our contribution to the entrepreneurial ecosystem. We help them to see things that are there, but because of their own narrow focus, they cannot see it anymore. Mhm.
Well, and I think at one anthropology convention a number of years ago, I heard the panelists talk about how difficult it was to do the research and bring it back to the CEO of the company, whatever it was, a bank or
Mhm.
otherwise. And my mind went to the fact that the anthropologists weren't ever in business. And so the words they used to explain it didn't necessarily resonate well with the
Mhm.
CEO or the business
Mhm.
leader. So part of this brokering the ideas is you have an excellent way of converting what you've learned into wisdom for the business owner so that it doesn't feel threatening or obscure. It's not
Mhm.
academic at all. It's really
Mhm.
based upon, let me tell you what they're telling us. Can you hear it? And then
Yeah.
it's up to him to listen.
Yeah. The way I like to present it is that it's common sense. I
Ah,
mean, this is what people are telling me. So this is uh, as a consequence, it's suggested that you do this. I mean,
yes.
by just common sense, you are just looking cause and effect, cause and effect.
Yep. Yep.
So that's what business people want. They don't want complex formulas. They want like, oh, tell me what I need to do.
And,
So that's what
and
I do with as an anthropologist. I simplify things very, very easy that are common sense,
well, and for
very
him,
rational.
and it wasn't very complicated either. We had
Mhm.
a distribution channel that was unfamiliar, that was
Mhm.
motivated, yes, to sell, but more as well as to do well in the communities they served, to
Mhm.
ensure that the bread he was making would become part of a culture that had a different
Mhm.
kind of experience, and to reinvent bread in a way that could help him sustain his growth. I hope he
Mhm.
heard you because it is quite extraordinary what you are able to call out of these stories that you captured from these women who just simply
Mhm.
want to bring a fine bread into their communities and help
Mhm.
people get healthy and stay healthy and enjoy their breakfast.
Mhm. Yeah, yes, and know and share their success in their body and their health with with their close people, with their close
Yes.
families, with their close relatives.
Well, and
Mhm.
to help others through a multiplier. And that's how things, word of mouth is still the best marketing you can do. This is so
Mhm.
exciting. Do you have one or two things you'd like to leave our audience with, Oscar? Wisdom about listening to your customers with an open mind, or I can give you my wisdoms, but what are yours? A couple.
Well, the first one would be that we need to we need to be unhappy with the company that we have or the business that we have. We need to deepen our understanding of our customers in order to have a better impact and consequently to grow the business.
Yes.
By having a strong impact with our customers, if we strengthen our mission, then we will grow, the business will grow. But
Yes.
in order to do that, we need to deepen the understanding that we have of our customers and our own employees. Mhm.
Well, I think that's real important. The head of sales did not understand how to sell in a
Mhm.
market that was her own culture.
Mhm.
But this was something intruding into it in a way that was unfamiliar and difficult to comprehend. Really,
Mhm.
really cool. If they
Mhm.
would like to reach you, Oscar, I will put putting it on to the podcast. But in do you have a website? I'm sure you do. LinkedIn, what's the best way to reach you?
Yeah, in LinkedIn, you can find me Oscar Barrera, PhD, and also in my website, antropologiacorporativa.mx. Yeah, you will find it in the show notes.
I will
Uh,
make sure that's on the blog and the podcast as well.
mhm. Mhm.
So, but this has been absolutely delicious time. I'm so excited to see you and to share your story and to remember the good conversations we had as you were starting out. And life has taken us in many different directions. But I do think once you become an anthropologist, somebody said, "Are you still doing anthropology?" I said, "You don't understand. Anthropology isn't doing, it's seeing."
Mhm.
Anthropology is a mindset. It's the way we approach
Yeah.
the world. It's
Mhm.
being an observer isn't to just stay on the outside, it's to watch what's going on the inside. It's a way of
Mhm.
being. And so my joy is to always remember what I learned in my undergraduate days about how
Mhm.
exciting it was to know what I didn't know. And the best way to learn was just to listen to people's stories. I didn't have
Mhm.
to have science, I did have to have wisdom, and it came from listening and hearing
Mhm.
what people
Yeah.
were saying. Am I right?
Yes, and also my field of expertise is innovation. So sometimes people in companies they rub their heads and say like, oh, how can we do something different? Well, you just listen. Listen to the customers. Just watch and observe and listen. And they give you the clues. They give you the clues. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. Just listen and and see the clues.
And you don't. Yeah, if you're a smart person, you can do it all by yourself. But if you're not, you need a hand sometimes. And
Yeah,
that
definitely.
hand could be an anthropologist that can help you.
Apology.
Let me wrap. I'm delighted to have become the 18th, ranked 18 among the top 100 podcasts on the area of change. You can understand my joy in sharing people like Oscar with our audiences and how it can help you change. My first book, On the Brink, A Fresh Lens to Take Your Business to New Heights, it's about how anthropology can help your business grow. And in it are stories about what I've done to be an ethnographer, to watch when companies, every one of those companies were stuck or stalled. There was no reason to be. The changes were right here. They were coming through the telephone, coming through the emails. People were asking them things. They couldn't hear what was being asked because we don't do that. Well, if you keep saying we don't do that, you will not grow because the times they are changing. And my two books about women mean business, that came out in 2023, and Rethink Smashing the Myths of Women in Business, won an award and does real well and bring me wonderful clients. And I have a new book coming out in 2026 called Rethink Retirement. And it's going to be all about a whole lot of folks I've interviewed about what's good and bad about this word called retirement. It's an empty space that is filled in all kinds of different ways, and you can do it well or you can be miserable. So, my tagline is from observation to innovation, and you can understand why Oscar and I get along so well. And it's always a pleasure to bring you to my audience, Oscar. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
No, no, thank you very much, Andy, for the invitation. I had a great time talking to you.
It's always my pleasure. I'll say goodbye. Please stay well and take care. Bye bye, everybody.